Taoiseach, for many years, people before profit have called for a wealth tax to try and redistribute wealth in what is one of the richest countries in the world, where wealth has increased exponentially year after year, including during the pandemic. And now we have the ironic situation that today, 100 of the richest people in the world have actually sent a begging letter to the political leaders of the world saying, will you please tax us more? We're not being taxed enough. Introduce wealth taxes. So even the billionaires can see the gross inequality and have pleaded to political leaders at Davos to tax them more. But you resist. And you try and rubbish what Oxfam said this week. And just for your information, or for the officials who wrote your earlier response, the central bank quarterly report every single year spells out the amount of personal, financial and household wealth in this country and shows increases in that wealth in exactly the same proportions that our Oxfam are outlining. The Department of Finance did a study, and you're right to say there's no studies, and there should be, and I think this is deliberate, of the distribution of that wealth. But the Department of Finance did do a distribution study in 2017 where they showed the richest 10% have 53% of that wealth, whereas the poorest 50% in this country have less than 2% of the wealth. Right? If we are going to address inequality, and if we're going to have the money for housing, for health, for education, surely we could impose a little bit of additional tax on the super wealthy millionaires and billionaires.
In terms of Deputy Boyd Barrett's points, I wasn't rubbishing any report, Deputy Barrett, but I do think it's important that we analyse reports and we raise issues in terms of the reports and go through them with the authors and so on and just work out, because you yourself, and it's not deliberate that there's no comprehensive data on wealth distribution. But again, there are questions around the figures, that's all I'm saying. But let's park that for a moment. We do have wealth taxes in Ireland. Like we have the capital gains tax of 33%, capital acquisitions tax, we have local property tax, properties where a lot of wealth resides. You oppose that, I think. All the left too. You keep calling for a wealth tax and then you attack. I know, but there's no question that, well, it is actually, if you, in terms of the very high value houses, which you want, then you want all the billionaires to get scot-free. You want all the millionaires and billionaires, you want them to be scot-free. If they're taxed, you don't think they should be taxed at all in terms of their massive properties. But you don't believe so, because you vote against it all the time. But I just made the point, if the French wealth, if the SRI study showed that if the French wealth tax system was applied to Ireland, it would only yield 22 million. You know, that was the SRI analysis back in 2016. So, you know, there's a big difference between 22 million and 4 billion. And, you know, into issues of residency and so on, as you know, and a whole lot of other stuff.